Hello, community. Happy Tuesday. I'm sorry, I was just helping some commissioners troubleshoot. Welcome to our November meeting. I hope you all are staying warm and safe. There's so much going on right now. Can y'all still see my screen? All right, that's the agenda for tonight. Okay, welcome. I see community commissioners on. I have 4 commissioners, so I'm going to go ahead and call a quorum because we have a lot going on tonight and want to get into it. Actually, let me give the commissioners one more minute. While we are getting folks online, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. Let us know who you are, whether you're a resident, if you're visiting us, you're another stakeholder in the community. Go ahead and utilize that chat while we go ahead and get started. All right. Yes, Commissioner McKinney, we have a couple at the end. All right. Whoops. I know some folks are just getting off work. I'm just getting off work. So let's give them a few minutes. All right. Can y'all still see my screen? All right, thank you. Thank you, Margaret, for letting us know. All right. Let me just make sure we don't have any more. All right, for community members, if you have any any questions or announcements you want to have for the commission, for the entire ANC and the community that are joining, this is not direct questions to any of our speakers. Go ahead and start putting those in the chat or raising your hands, and I can get those. Sorry, some people do not see their Zoom link. All right, what's came from Zoom directly. All right, y'all, let me just check this. Zoom really quickly. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can go into the Zoom, right? All right. Oops. Let's see. Anyone having difficulty? All right, apologies, community. Oh no. Let's see what's happening. Commissioner Donahue, Commissioner Davis. What is that? Okay. All right, thanks everyone for your patience. It was a couple commissioners who were having some issues getting into the chat. And so I needed to check the Zoom. All right, thank you. We look like we have a lot of activity going in the chat. Welcome everyone. Thank you. Yes, Alan, you do. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do roll call because we have a lot to discuss tonight and we want to get out on time. So I'm gonna start with 8A01, Donahue.
Commissioner Tom Donahue here.
8A05, Commissioner White, I'm here. 8A06, Commissioner McKinney.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here.
And 8A07, Commissioner Redmond.
Redmond present.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, DC Water, please log in through the Zoom emails directly. So I'll make sure you have those so that you can be able to present. Like I sent you all, you won't be coming on until about 7:45 after the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services. We have a quorum tonight, 4 commissioners. I'm going to motion to approve tonight's agenda. Can I get a second?
I have changes to the agenda.
You got a motion to approve it first, and then we can go to changes.
We can't approve the changes unless.
I second.
Thank you. All right, any discussion? What's your discussion, Donahue?
I'm submitting 2 letters that I submitted to the commission earlier this month for review to be discussed during tonight's meeting. In regards to our communication newsletter policy, procedural review for commission actions, central recurring agenda items, and these both of these letters were sent to the full commission on October 13th and October 14th, and I think this is in the best interest of our commission.
So you want to discuss some procedural things? I will see. I think we need to talk about that. We started talking about it a little bit. No commissioners responded because probably they didn't agree to it. But if you want to put those for a vote, you absolutely can at the end of the night. But y'all still see my
They should be added to
do
the.
y'all still see my screen or not?
Nope, just see you.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted that to do it. So Commissioner Redmond, your hand is raised.
I just needed to know if we needed to add the fact that we were going to vote on the printer tonight.
Yes, you will have to add that as an agenda item to the vote if you wanted to add that. We can do that when we do the votes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Commissioner Donahue, if we have any more time, we can discuss structure and process, but that really needs to happen at the legal meeting. Any votes you want to take, we can do it at a public meeting because that's a whole process. That's going to take longer than we have tonight.
Chair White, I'm asking that these items be added to the agenda and be part of the record tonight.
They can be part of the record that you asked for your 2 process things, but we do not have time to discuss it because that's at least an hour or 2 because it was 2 long letters, but we'll add it to the record. And we will discuss.
This was requested October 13th and October 14th. Plenty of time for us to have a discussion and to put it on the agenda.
Yeah, but people didn't, no one else but you. So we're, like I said, we will discuss it. Well, and if it comes to a vote, or if you just want to add a vote that you have something, because you sent it that you want to do, you can absolutely do that. But point noted, it'll be in the minutes and the records that they're not going to be discussed in full details because they're going to take the entire meeting to discuss. And if you would like to just do a meeting on it, I'm happy to do a meeting just on that. How about that?
I'd rather it be part of tonight's meeting, as that's what I had asked several weeks ago. However,
right, so
for transparency purposes, thank you.
No worries. So meeting stands as still. Can I get all who agree on tonight's agenda say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions?
Right.
Any nays?
Nay.
Nay. All right, meeting passes. All right, everyone, welcome to November's meeting. We're going to get started with some community updates and announcements before we start a hearty discussion with Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services. But before we get to community, let's just do some brief updates from the commissioners to the community. So we'll start with 8A01, Commissioner Donahue.
So as everyone may be aware, we've had a pretty exhausting week. Last Sunday, members of the Fairlawn community, 1600 block of Fairlawn, experienced a sewer backup that resulted in about 3 inches of sewage water backing up into their properties. Several residents were displaced for several days into hotels. Monday, we come to find out that this sewer backage also went up into Anacostia High School, resulting in school being dismissed at noon on Monday, no school on Tuesday, and classes being reassigned over to Kramer Middle School on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. School resumed today back at Anacostia High School. We had a meeting with Councilmember Treyon White and all the parties that were involved yesterday. And so I'm glad to see that DC Water and entities will be here as well discussing the matter. Besides that, we also had a successful Halloween evening of candy giving. And I want to thank all of the community members who donated so much candy to the community. And luckily, we were able to give most of that out. And appreciate their involvement in that. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Donahue. Commissioner McKinney, any community announcements?
Yes, I wanted to speak to, I know we've had a lot of traffic that's been flowing through the intersection of MLK Avenue and Howard Road. A lot of complaints that went through the DDAC complaining about having a traffic control officer out there. As you can see, we have a traffic control officer also out there now. And so down there by Sterling. Also, was complaints about trash and a lot of things like that that's been out there along the corridor of Howard Road and Shannon Place. If you notice, Tion Jones been out there every morning. He gets up and he's been cleaning out. A couple of other neighbors been assisting him with that as well. So if you want to join the team on Saturdays along the corridors of Shannon Place and Howard Road, Tion Jones is the leader of that team that we come out in the morning to clean up if you want to help out.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinney. Commissioner Redman.
I want to throw it out there that I'm getting some FaceTime with our chair, with Trayon on November 14th over here in the SMD. So if anyone has any concerns and or questions they want me to throw at him, please reach out 202-696-3081. I also wanted to throw out there that it hasn't hit the news yet, but the residents at Marbury Plaza received their ruling October 31st. We were awarded over $29 million, with $11 million given to the city and the attorneys. It's possibly they're looking into this may be the second largest award granted in U.S. history to a private landlord. So it hasn't hit the news, but it will be soon. So if anybody, wants to help out over here, the struggle still continues. We're still reaching out to different DOB and other agencies to help us out over here, but we're still working through. But I just wanted to throw that out there. We got some good news finally.
Congratulations, Commissioner.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for actually mentioning Councilmember Wyatt. So I think we told folks at the last meeting, the ANC met with the council member sometime within the last month. And a couple of things that we elevated, many things. One of the things the office is working on, that's a moratorium for liquor licenses in 8A. That's something that this ANC has been working on for about 3 years, trying to get some type of moratorium on the number of licenses in 8A. Since we last met, ANC, I'm going to make an announcement for Commissioner Davis until she gets on. We protested 2 new Class A liquor licenses. One was in 8A01 for super convenience. That used to be J&D Market. For those who know, J&D sold sometime earlier this year. To make a long story short, we went through mediation for both of those. It's not a real mediation process. We can talk about that, what that looks like later on. Weren't able to mediate with either liquor license holders. And when we went to our roll call hearing for super convenience, the applicant did not show up. So their liquor license application was thrown out. That does not mean that they cannot reapply. It just means that it was thrown out. And if they reapply, the process starts over again. We also have A+ liquors that is in 8A06, Commissioner McKinney, single member district. And we will be going forward for a full protest hearing on November 19th. The ANC protested along with a group of residents called the Group of 5. So we've been working very closely with the Group of 5 and the 5 residents to protest this license. If you want to testify as a public hearing at the protest for what is it called? A+, please let us know. We have to submit by the 12th. If you could let us know by the 11th, actually, any public witnesses that want to sign up to testify against the license. So those are some updates from the ANC. The last thing is we are securing a meeting with the Attorney General to talk mainly about some of the slumlord issues that we're having, as well as some consumer issues. That meeting is tentatively scheduled virtually for next Wednesday, but waiting for the Attorney General's office to confirm. And then for those who don't know, Cedar Gardens Apartments, aka Frederick Douglass Apartments, it's an 8805, has been dealing with a major rat infestation. One of the entire buildings has had to be relocated. Some different properties with some different units within the properties and some within properties that the management companies own. And so we are having a meeting next week with Councilmember White, Attorney General's office, OTA, and the management and residents about this issue, because it's a lot of structural issues that are happening at Cedar Gardens. And last update from me, those who get the newsletter kind of coming from the updates that I send out several times a week, sometimes several times a day, to about 200-300 constituents that I have and have asked for it, that is going to stop at the end of November. Starting December 1, I'm going to forward everything to the ANC listserv that we have created. And so please join the ANC listserv. It is going to be up and running. It's up and running now, but if you sign up, you can get it. I will put those instructions in the chat. And that is all of the updates from commissioners. All right. Perfect.
Actually, I'm
Sorry.
so sorry. I forgot one thing.
Go ahead.
If we can potentially discuss these jump outs that are occurring with MPD and federal law enforcement. I know of two, one that I was personally involved with, that are concerning, because they two within a couple of days, I think, were, in my opinion, unlawful. The other thing is the 202 convenience store, the new convenience store on Marion Barry. I know that I forwarded them for information about some of the things that they're selling in that new store. So having DC, right? LP, putting some pressure on them to have them do an inspection, because I've been in there again and saw the same items being sold that shouldn't be sold. So.
Okay, no worries. So we can talk about that with MPD. If DCLP doesn't answer your email, I recommend copying the chair and the council member on it, because they'll reply at the council member's copy. And they shouldn't, they should be able to respond. Okay, so I'm gonna go to some community. I see Patrick's hand up, and Mr. Galen, your hand was up earlier. I don't know if you still want that, but Patrick, over to you. And if anyone else has any community, okay, you're back up. Okay. Any announcements that you want to make for the whole community and want to raise your hand, I'm going to allow you to talk.
Great. Thanks, Chair White. Hey, everyone, this is Patrick O'Keefe over at 16th U. Just wanted to let folks know I shared this by email, and I'll send it back out again. But HABA, the Historic Anacostia Block Association, is hosting a neighborhood happy hour on November 20th between 5 and 7 at the new Atlas Brewworks over at the Bridge District. So if anyone's around on November 20th, please swing by. They also have Andy's Pizza location there. I think there was a lot of chatter about people being excited to go see the new space. So November 20th, we'll send a reminder out and hope to see people there. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick. Our November newsletter is going out tomorrow. So can you send any updates and we can make sure we get that in there?
Yes, thank you.
All right, perfect. Mr. Pressberry.
Hi. Hopefully I can make this announcement. My computer's not stable. It keeps dropping the Zoom. Anyway, Fairlawn Citizens Association will have its annual tree lighting, Christmas tree lighting, on Saturday, December 6th at 4 p.m. Anyone wishing to be a part of the program, please reach out to me, and I'll see what I can do. That's Saturday, December 6th, the first Saturday in December. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pressberry. That's Saturday, December 6th. And that's at Fairlawn
Marion Barry and Minnesota Avenue.
Absolutely. So that park right there on Marion Barry, Minnesota. Thank you so much, Mr. Pressberry.
Thank you.
Tracy Johnson.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure, well, it's not necessarily an announcement, but I just want to implore you and anyone else who will listen to please help us get some assistance in getting this alleyway trimmed up. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's to the point now where we can barely drive through it anymore. And I'm really tired of begging about this. They keep saying that everyone keeps passing the buck. Everyone says it's not my problem, not my responsibility. There's no reason we should have now 6-foot tall weeds growing in the alley and the city is not doing anything about it. I'm really getting tired of asking. I'm begging. We have been asking now for this since about April.
Yeah. Thank you, Tracy, for elevating that. And I did reach out to Ward 8 Woods actually, and so I'm going to be talking to Nathan tomorrow to see if they can just come over and do it.
I mean, do I need to go to the media at this point? Because, you know, if I
also
lived in Georgetown, it wouldn't be a problem.
I absolutely recommend media when you're not getting support from your government. And then I'll be meeting with Nathan tomorrow from Ward 8. Well, one day this week, Nathan and I are going to talk and see how Ward 8 Woods can try to help clean up some of these alleys.
Thank you so
But it
much.
shouldn't have to be that way. Thank you, Tracy. Yes. All right. And then Miss Wanda, Reverend Thompson, did you wanna
Yeah,
make
I
your
just wanted
announcement?
to share that the next Ward 8 faith leaders and clergy meeting will be on this Saturday, the 8th. It'll be at St. John CME Church, 2801 Stanton Road, Southeast, from 10 to 12, with breakfast at 9:30. Everybody's welcome to come out and join us. So again, St. John CME Church on Stanton Road, Southeast, and that's the Ward 8 clergy and faith leaders meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Thompson. David Ross, I elevated you if you want to make those announcements from DHS.
Thank you, Commissioner. I always appreciate you affording us the opportunity to come and speak. Wanted to share 2 quick flags. One, we are officially in hypothermia season, November 1st through March 31st, 2026. If you see a resident who is in need of assistance or shelter, please call the hotline at 202-399-7093 or just call 311. Give a description as best as possible, or an address, an intersection, and our hotline will come out. Our shelter van will come out anywhere in the district and pick up that resident. And second, Commissioner, we wanted to come back and confirm that we do not foresee moving any residents in or starting programming at Valley Place until February. So we'll come back in January with program staff if there are any updates at that time.
Thank you so much, David.
Mr. Ross, could we get that phone number again?
I dropped it in the chat, 202-399-7093, Commissioner Donahue, or just call 311 and ask to be transferred to the hotline.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. And so I'm not seeing, let me go through the chat real quick. DCPS fiscal year 2027 public budget hearing is from November 18th. Let me start over. DCPS's fiscal year 2027 public budget hearing is on November 18th at 6 p.m. Please feel free to join if you would like to participate. Let me go through the chat and see if I see anything else. All right, not seeing anything else. Not seeing any more hands from the community. I do want to welcome Commissioner Foreman. Thank you. I know you were having some internet issues, and for the record, Commissioner Foreman has joined. Do you have any updates for the community before we move into MPD?
Only thing I have is that Minnesota 17th Street and 18th Street. I've been working with MPD. We have a church there that folks are attempting to break into every night and live there. And I have an apartment building and a total of 3 other houses, 1703 on up, that we have repeatedly been broken into and have to just constantly call the police. We're trying to get the abatement to do more besides putting up boards, because they rip the boards directly off and they break through the gates again. So now we're trying to contact and get all the information on who the owners are so we can get something done here. And also forward some of that information up to counsel's office.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Foreman. I think this is something also you should bring up to the OAG meeting that we're going to be having.
Okay.
So perfect. All right. Do we have anyone here from the 6th district?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
You need to see me?
It'll be nice. But Lieutenant, you can get started while you try to get your video on.
Can I help you?
While
I'm coming up right now.
Okay, perfect. And if you, community, if you have any questions for 60, please raise your hand or put them in the chat. Over to you, Lieutenant.
2 seconds. Let me pull the video thing up for you. Let's see what we got here. I don't know if it's a video thing.
We can see you.
You can see me?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. 6D is here. Oh, okay. Okay. That's seeing what's up now. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. 6D is here in attendance in the meeting. As you know, the part of 6D that's in this particular 8A ANC is a very small portion. However, I just wanted to go over those crime stats in reference to that portion, as well as specifically answer the questions that you guys might have as it pertains to the events that took place in 6D. Currently, as it stands now, year to date, the violent crime in that area is down 36% year to date in total over the last 11 months as of 11/4/2025. And when I reference these crime stats, I'm referencing them compared to the same time last year. Let me turn this fan off, excuse me. As I previously stated, the specific area in which 8A ANC is located inside the 6th district is in PSA 607, specifically a part of 607. And give me 2 seconds here.
I don't know if you were going to kind of say exactly where 607 is. I don't know. Kind of give the
Oh, so 607 is going to be the Fairlawn community, the 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue by a liquor store, all the way towards Good Hope Road. Excuse me, Marion Barry Avenue, all the way out where Marion Barry and Minnesota touch. That's going to be the 607 PSA. Most of our events take place on that thoroughfare, that strip or what have you, specifically roughly in the 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue. But that's something that we've been working on to try to mitigate the events that take place down there. But like I previously said, the violent crime in that area is down 37%. The non-violent crime, which is going to be the property crime, is actually down even higher. It's down 47%. The motor vehicle thefts are down significantly, over 60% of the motor vehicle thefts. Only thing we've been struggling with as of lately is going to be excuse me, give me a second. This is your watch commander, Lieutenant Robert Sigma.
While Lieutenant is taking a call, can you please raise your hand if you want to ask any questions to 6 or 7D so we can keep it moving tonight? Or put them in the chat and I'll ask them. All right, thanks, Donahue. I see your hand raised.
Give me 2 seconds, please. I'm also the watch commander right now. Just give me 2 seconds, please.
It's okay. We can actually come back to you. We can go to 7D.
Okay, okay, please. Okay.
All right, Captain Cullum.
Hi, so it's both myself and then somehow Captain Rodriguez, who actually has the Anacostia area for Thrive, is also on the call, but somehow he is under Captain Pulliam. So you'll hear from both of us. I have the 7th district, and that is everything from Morris Road up to Marion Barry and down onto parts of MLK. So I'm glad that 60 is here as well, because a lot of the questions I know are coming from Fairlawn and that area, and we want to make sure that we're not just passing it, but that they can address those specific things. On our side in the 7th District, we've had a huge push this month for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we've teamed up with our Crime Victims Compensation, DC Safe, and some of the other organizations to just kind of pass along the word of what we can do to help break the cycle, and that when people aren't ready to come forward and speak to MPD, that there are other options of who that they can speak to, and that we can all kind of resolve to hopefully see a drop. We've unfortunately in our violent crime seen a spike in domestic related offenses. And so this is something, especially as it gets colder and more people are inside the holidays, we see an uptick. So we just kind of ask everyone to spread the awareness and knowledge that outside of just law enforcement, if there's people that need help, there are services that they can get help. But that, of course, when they hear something or that there's an assault in progress, to call 911 and DC will respond. Another thing that we are seeing kind of grow and is on trend from last year is thefts of packages. When people start getting more packages, when people are getting more things. So our team is out there passing out flyers. This is not to say that we are ever blaming the resident for leaving the packages, because that's not the intent whatsoever, but it is to bring awareness of the different Amazon hubs that are available, that where you can go to the station and have your package delivered to one of those hubs and pick them up, or just kind of to be nice to your neighbors if you see packages that were left out on their porch, of just maybe tucking it behind something, or being a good community member of awareness of who's walking around and up to the front doorsteps. So with that, I'll leave it to any specific questions. I know that Commissioner Donahue had some that Lieutenant Roberts will probably be able to answer because it's Fairlawn. But anything else I can do on the Anacostia side, please let me know.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So, hold on, Commissioner, real quick, Commissioner McKinney. Does your colleague Rodriguez have any updates before we go to questions?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me in this meeting. I've been wanting to get on it for the past 2 months now. So I'm Captain Rodriguez. I work out of the 6th District. However, I oversee the Anacostia Thrive. I've been overseeing it since September 1st of this year. And I dropped my information in the chat, my email and phone number. I am very responsive and available to answer any questions. So just to give you an overview, since September, and the area, the Anacostia concentration for the drive is from 13th Street to 18th Street Southeast, from T Street to Morris Road Southeast, to include the 1300 block all the way to the 1800 block of Marion Barry Avenue. So far since September, we have recovered 50 weapons off the street, specifically firearms, within that concentration of the Anacostia Thrive. There's been multiple arrests for drug offenses, and year to date, we've actually arrested 237. We've had 237 arrests in that specific area. So since I've taken over, our violent crime are actually down 47% in that concentration. Our property crime, however, we've seen an uptick. We are now holding strong at -3%. What that means is specifically as my colleague was mentioning, the uptick in thefts that we're seeing, specifically package thefts. We're seeing a lot of porch pirates, if you will, where our community members are ordering packages, to no fault of their own, of course, they're possibly working. And it's a crime of opportunity. These suspects, they see the package, and within 8 seconds, they'll walk up to the porch, grab it, and take it. So again, we're pushing out a lot of safety literature, a lot of safety awareness, such as we do have Amazon lockers at your disposal at all of the districts, the 6th and 7th districts, that our community members can utilize to try to, curtail these thefts, as well as encouraging members of the community to have security cameras in their property to better assist us with the investigations and ultimately closing these theft cases. Another big one has been the stolen autos, specifically in the 1400 block of Bangor Street Southeast. What we've done there is that we've installed more security cameras, and since we've seen a decrease in that specific block. However, within the Anacostia Thrive, we have seen a spread of stolen autos within those areas. So our officers are out there, they're staying highly visible, conducting crime patrols with the lights in position 2, which is the red and blue lights that you see, especially in the nighttime. We're conducting park walk and talks, just engaging with the community, and as well as doing our bi-weekly multi-agency walks with our DC partners. If you're interested in partaking in one of those walks, again, my information is in the chat. You can email me and I can forward you the information when it becomes available for the following week. But that's all I have for the Anacostia Thrive at this time, and I open it up for questions.
Thank you so much. So since it's 70, we'll start with Commissioner McKinney.
Hello, hi. I'm Commissioner McKinney, and I just want to I live in the 1022 Howard Road Southeast, and we live right across the street from the Anacostia subway station. And my neighbors and I have been having constant break-ins where we live at. When I first moved there in March, someone broke into my car, bust my windows out. Ramada was trying to assist Metro MPD with some footage of the person who done it. A investigator called my phone. No one ever followed up after that. They had the footage of the person who done it. No one ever followed up. Also, someone broke into our mailboxes and been stealing packages from our houses and everything like that. They even found a gun in one of our mailboxes. Nothing has been done as far as that. We sent out emails with Commander Boldman to try to get a meeting, a community meeting with the council member and everyone, so we can try to figure out and try to combat this crime right there in our area where we live at. We've been having so much crime happening right there at Anna Townhomes, and no one is reaching back out to us from MPD to try to assist us with anything.
So if I don't think that we've spoken specifically. I know that we've been down there addressing a few individuals' offenses. You can see my email in the chat. Definitely send me an email. I am down, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a week down there meeting with various entities of the community. So I want to make sure that whatever it is that your group needs, that I address it. If you email me directly, that we can arrange that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any more questions for the 7th district? Let's see, in the chat, there continues to be a lot of incidents at the corner of Talbert and MLK Avenue. This has been reported several times, I would say over the last 6 months at least, noting that that police academy is right there. Captain Pullum, do you have any updates for the community on that?
Yes. So we have had 10 different arrests in the last 2 weeks alone, right there at MLK and Talbert. Has been one of our areas of concentration. And we are not just going down there arresting, but we're pairing with our FEMS counterparts and reaching out to Department of Behavioral Health and trying to coordinate, because a lot of the issues down there have to deal with substance abuse and a lot of people who are being exploited and because of their substance abuse issues. So when we are looking at what MLK and Talbert, for those that are maybe on the 60 side and don't see it, is that there's a group that has been, hung out there before, I don't know, definitely before I came into the 7th district, but for a decade now. And a lot of them are just being a part of community and just hanging in front of the store that's there. And then there are some that are preying on the individuals with substance abuse issues and distributing narcotics to them. We had 4 different overdose cases yesterday along MLK and up to Alabama. And so one of the big pushes that we're doing is ensuring that everyone has the literature of like what to do with Narcan and where to go for, again, assistance when you are suffering or dealing with substance abuse issues. One of the things that we're coming up as a problem is that a lot of individuals who are calling and they're saying there are just people loitering outside. And as we know in DC, there's no loitering laws. That is not something that we want to just criminalize when people are just, again, meeting with friends or being in community. But we do have to balance that with there is an issue a little further up Talbert now of actually narcotics transactions and people distributing those narcotics. And so that's kind of what we've done these past 2 weeks is juggle both sides of that, both getting people help that need help, but then also affecting arrests. And so the last meeting that I had with some of the MLK and Talbot residents, they said that that's been successful. If there's something else or there's a specific time, place, or individual that you are seeing, please again, email that to me. We need acute information at this point. We've done some wider sweeping arrests, but yeah, please let me know. That's definitely been one of our focus this past month.
Thank you, Captain. All right, any other questions for MPD? I'm going to invite you to put those in the chat and invite the captain to put them in the chat. Lieutenant, because we're running a little behind on time, I want to get to questions. You can put the stats in the chat. There's a link. Anyone can look at the stats, and I want to start with questions for 60. Commissioner
cool.
Douglas, I saw your hand first.
Good evening, Lieutenant Roberts. Thanks for your continued service to our community. You had said, I may have missed it, you had referenced an incident. What are you specifically referring to? And can you talk about specifically the great success that you've had, specific numbers with the 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue? Let me just say that I applaud you and your teams very well for all the work that you guys have been doing. That corridor and that block, from what we started a couple of months ago when we all marched down the street to today is a big improvement. And so I know there's a lot of different factors of that, but thank you for the part that your team is playing. And then I do have one other question after you answer those.
I'm sure Commissioner Davis was highly involved in that also.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Lieutenant.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like I previously stated before, we made great efforts down here in the 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue. Over the last 30 days, we had over 16 arrests. Out of the 16 arrests, 12 of them were narcotics related, to include distribution as well as possession. I contacted some of my partners at the narcotics branch, and they went down there and they've been making some arrests in full uniform and so doing a little bit of undercover work, to be honest with you, down there. So we're making great efforts down there. On a nightly and a daily basis, I also send down the federal partners as far as it pertains to the DC Safe initiative. I've been working with them up to about maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every single night. And we usually go down there and hit the 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue and Fairlawn as well. Now, working with DC Safe with the federal agencies, we average anywhere from 9 to 12 arrests daily, every single day. So that's also been a big help with getting the crime down in the community and also trying to make the community a much more safer. The number of proactive police-related arrests and deterring of crimes has significantly increased with us working with the federal partners. And because I am specifically tied to PSA 607 and Fairlawn, and also work with the federal partners, then I take special interest in going down there in 607 and Fairlawn, 8A, ANC, and making sure that the areas gets attention from the police department. So it's like a cheat code, if I'm being honest, because I work with them.
Well, thanks for that update. Recently, there's been 2 incidences in 8A01 that really concern me. The DC Safe program that you're referring to, is that where often these entities are called jump outs, or we have multiple cars and with a lead of an MPD car, and then other federal agencies? Is that DC Safe? Is that what we're calling it now?
It is. It's called the DC Safe Initiative, in which we have the crime suppression team, which is a marked MPD unit. We're in full uniform driving marked MPD cruisers, along with federal partners to include, but not limited to, Homeland Security, ATF, DEA, FBI. We work with ICE, all different federal partners, and we go out in teams about, I'll probably say roughly about 10 to 15 teams, but it's 4 teams specifically. And we go out throughout the 6th district and parts of the 7th district. Well, 7th district has their own team as well, but 6D, we go out in 6D and we make arrests and conduct enforcement inside the entire district. Because I work with them specifically, I always make sure I go down to PSA 607 and give that a lot of attention.
And that I greatly appreciate. The concern that I have is on 2 occasions, and let me preface this by saying I greatly appreciate all the work that you've done. However, I do have concern about some illegal stops as well.
Right.
On 2 different occasions, one I was literally part of, the other I witnessed. These crews jumped out, went into the yellow store on 22nd and Naylor, and as I stood there and watched what was going on, I was approached without any cause or any reason, asking if I had any guns on me. Now, as we both know, there was no reason for him to be asking me that. There was no indication that I had any. And I'm concerned about the level of illegal stops that may be occurring. The same thing happened on Fairlawn to a block of the neighbors that just went through a traumatic experience themselves, where somebody that was renting an Airbnb was stopped because she was smoking in her car, and harassed, basically went through her car. This is 2 of these incidences in a very short period of time, and these are the only ones that that have been reported. I'm concerned about the residents that are being affected by these sort of stops that don't necessarily have any probable cause or any reason. And again, I want to preface, I appreciate all the work that you are doing, but I am concerned about some illegal stops that are occurring as well.
Well, Tom, I 1 second. I want to comment on that second stop there, because after everyone left there was the marijuana permeating from the vehicle. So these Fed guys and everything else, they may have had probable cause. They may have seen something that you did not see, because I was there after you left.
Either way, nobody was cited, nobody got in any trouble. There was no,
let's let the lieutenant answer, and then I just want to add on to Tom's question. It's interesting to hear. Thank you for admitting that MPD is still working with ICE, because the mayor has said several times that MPD is not working with ICE, and you just confirmed that.
What I'm saying is that we work with
ICE. We work with ICE. I can record it, replay it back.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Just want to say thank you for confirming the mayor.
No, that's not what I'm confirming, Commissioner. What I'm telling you is that. Well, that's not what I'm confirming. What I'm saying is that we work with a bunch of different. I've been doing this for maybe 4 months now. So at some point in time, the ICE units are working, but we don't work together in conjunction.
I understand, Lieutenant. I want you to move on and answer the questions, because you already said it for the record. I'll send you the recording so you can hear it, but you said ICE twice specifically.
No,
answer the commissioner's question about illegal stops. I understand you're not here and representing the mayor's office. I'm just showing a contradiction.
A contradiction in what?
Between what you're saying and what we're hearing from the mayor's office and the chief of police, that MPD is not working with ICE. You literally just said ICE.
We're not working with ICE specifically. ICE is one of the federal agencies that works with the DC Safe Initiative at one point.
I specifically. You say we're not working with ICE specifically, but ICE is one of the agencies that work with. I'm actually want to move on, because you're gaslighting me. I'm just going to say we don't work with ICE specifically, but ICE is one of the agencies that work with us. Please just move on and answer Commissioner Donahue. This is my meeting. Please answer Commissioner Donahue's question, and then we'll get to Commissioner Redmond.
I'm representing the Metropolitan Police Department, ma'am. That's it. I don't know what the conflict with the mayor and things of that nature. I'm just here to talk about the efforts of DC Safe with the ATF, the FBI, and going out there and making arrests and things of that nature. The units that I've specifically worked with this change every 2 weeks as the program changes, is going to be ATF, the DEA, Homeland Security, and things of that nature. They're swapping the agents out every 2 weeks to work with us. And when I say work with us, they
Lieutenant
are not
Roberts.
under.
Can we move?
Hey,
Can we move
sorry,
on,
this is
Lieutenant?
Captain Pulliam.
Yeah, we need to move on.
I got this. Lieutenant Roberts, don't worry about this right now. Well, we can follow up later. I think what the commissioner is asking is just the original question. If there are specific incidents that occur where you have any concerns, whether or not there are federal partners there, all of these different groups have an MPD member present. There will be body-worn camera, and you can raise that to us as white shirts, and we will be able to evaluate those and connect them with the agency. So Commissioner Donahue, if you have any concerns with interactions that you see involving either MPD or our federal partners, you can reach out to any of us, and we have the process, as everyone is familiar with here, of both the Office of Police Complaints, if it's MPD involved, and if there's not MPD involvement, we have a list of every equivalent flag for the different agencies that we can connect anyone with. So that goes with any concerns that are brought up. And this is not unique just to 8A and 8B. We had another concern that was brought up with one of the interactions, and we were able to kind of mediate what that looks like. It is different because we are seeing, as Lieutenant Roberts said, new federal partners in every 2 weeks. And so we are still having to almost train them in the ways that we conduct ourselves in DC and how we police our communities and work with our communities. I feel like it is unique, and that's what we want to make sure. So what was the actual specific question you needed, Commissioner?
So the commissioner wanted to know about illegal stops, potentially people's rights being violated. Is that correct, Commissioner Donahue? Is it some?
Yeah, and I also
Quick
just
time, because we do need
posted.
to move on too.
I
So
also just posted video from that stop in the chat. So, but yeah, specifically to those. I mean, the illegal stops. I mean,
thanks, Commissioner Donahue. I want to go to Commissioner Redmond and then move on from MPD because we do have the deputy mayor on, and we want to use this opportunity to get to him. Commissioner Donahue, if you want the commissioner to send an official letter, you can do that as a vote later on. Commissioner Redmond.
My questions are a little just real easy ones. For my particular SMD 8A07, can you give me what is the specific PSA for that? Do you know? Who knows that? And then if they can possibly get me in contact with whomever covers that particular PSA, because I'm hearing from you guys all the time, and I'm 10 months in, and I have yet to hear about any kind of programs that are going on over in my SMD. So I'm kind of curious of what's going on over here.
Can you give me an address? We unfortunately, we don't use the ANCs, and the maps don't really.
2300 Marionberry Avenue going up to.
So Marionberry Avenue is the split. Are you on?
He's talking about Marbury Plaza. That's the 6th.
I'm on the 6D side.
Okay, that's the 6th district side then. So I'll let Roberts.
So on the 6th district side of Marionberry Avenue, that's going to be PSA 607 as well. That's so basically the side that Marbury Plaza is on is 60, and of course the street is 70. What is your specific question as it pertains to that?
Just that, I'm hearing about these active programs that are going on in these other areas, and I'm kind of curious what's going on in this particular PSA. Is anything going on over here since the holidays? If someone can get me in contact with the officer that's handling neighborhood interactions over here.
Yes, absolutely. That's going to be Jason Medina. He's the one that handles all our community events in the 6th district, and I'll put his name inside the chat as well. And lastly, in reference to your question, Mr. Donahue, we work alongside the federal partners. However, they are their own separate entity, and MPD is own separate entity, and we're guided and bounded by the rules of MPD and our general orders. If you see an MPD officer that violated those rules or general orders, you can make a complaint by filling out OPC-1 against those members. In terms of the federal agents, that's a whole separate entity, and that's it as it pertains to stops.
And Lieutenant, what was the incident that you were referring to real quick at the beginning of the meeting?
There's been several. There was actually we made an arrest today actually. There's been several arrests been made. We just arrested someone for a carjacked vehicle and a stolen car earlier today, as well as But we make so many arrests on a daily basis, Mr. Donahue, but specifically on 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue, they just made, 2 days ago, they made 4 arrests for people selling drugs out of that area.
So
Okay,
we gotta move on. Sorry, I gotta
Okay.
move on. We got the deputy mayor here. We don't get a chance to get the deputy mayor here, and we've already heard how some of these issues of behavioral health. MPD, we have several questions in the chat from community. We're gonna ask that you stay on. One is from Jocelyn Waters. I'm going to post it in the chat. We're gonna ask that you answer some of these questions. I'll reflag them so you can see it. All right, thank you, everyone. That was a hearty conversation. Lieutenant, I wasn't attacking you, but I also don't want to be gaslighted. We're going to welcome Deputy Mayor Turnage back to ANCAA. It's been a while since we seen you, and I think we have Director Bazron here too. Thank you so much for coming back, Director Bazron. I'll update your name so people have it. And Director Bazron is here from Department of Behavioral Health. So I'm going to turn it over to you all for some quick announcements that you want to give the community. As most people know, I'll do a little framing. ANCAA has been in contact with the Deputy Mayor and Director Bazron to help provide public health interventions along Minnesota Avenue, Marionberry, and MLK Avenue corridors. Many of the issues, like we heard Captain Pullum, some of them are DBH related down at MLK and Talbot. A lot of them are substance use issues that we're experiencing and other forms of crisis. And that we've been asking for the administration to help relocate the BHG methadone clinic to a medical campus where folks can get more dignified wraparound services and not be exposed to some of the exposure that they have where that is. So a lot of our conversation tonight, things you haven't heard, you aren't new, but wanted to see where is progress along the public health intervention. So I'm going to turn it over to the Deputy Mayor Turnage and Director Bazron.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for having me. Our focus of late has been on trying to ferret out the behavioral health providers that are frankly committing fraud by not providing services, submitting false claims, and inducing persons for very little money, inducing persons to sign up with their particular agency, and then they bill Medicaid for a bunch of units and never provide the care. So as the Deputy Mayor's Office, working with me representing the Deputy Mayor's Office, also working with the law enforcement, the Office of the Inspector General, and our Program Integrity Unit at DHCF, we've basically identified at this point roughly 23, 24 agencies that are in various categories of termination. We have closed 2 providers who are being prosecuted. We have suspended payments for 4 providers. And once you suspend a Medicaid payment, the provider can no longer operate. They just can't. They don't have any resources coming in, and Medicaid is their only business. We have another 6 providers that are under investigation, but we cannot suspend. That's not a bad thing, because the reason we cannot suspend is that law enforcement is telling us not to suspend so they can collect more evidence that they will then use to bring the providers under indictment and prosecute. And then we have 11 additional providers that are under significant suspicion. And in the very near future, we will get the go-ahead, hopefully from the Office of the Inspector General and the federal government, to allow us to suspend payment for those 11 providers. We believe that, and there are more out there, we just have to, because of you have to develop a credible evidence of fraud before you can take these actions. And sometimes that takes a moment. We believe that once we get the providers out of the system who are stealing from the system and not delivering care, then we'll see better outcomes for the remaining providers. I can let Dr. Bazron talk about, what we are doing with the providers that we believe are, doing what they should be doing to deal with the very challenging issues that are raised when people are suffering from substance abuse. Barbara, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for having us here today. As Deputy Mayor Turner said, Department of Behavioral Health is working hand in glove with DHS as well with the Department of Healthcare Finance, as well as with law enforcement to make sure that we get those people and those agencies out of our system who are not providing the services and supports for the people we care about. I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about both BHT and what's happening there, as well as what we're doing on Minnesota Avenue. Because we have a targeted outreach agency, Family Medical, that's really providing services and supports. And it's the after hours team. They're there in the evening, and their job is to engage folks who need help and connect them to behavioral health care services. They also are doing things like collecting used syringes and taking them off the street. They have been working diligently around that, and they're there 4 nights a week. In addition to that, the Department of Behavioral Health, this mobile team is also there every Monday so that we can also provide engagement and connection to care services to individuals who need them. We have, over the past year, been working very hard in that area to try to make a difference in terms of what's happening and to get people to care that they really need. In addition to that, I know you and we've talked before, Commissioner, about BHG and what agencies are doing that. The agency that is in charge of that is Family Medical. And I will make sure, I don't know what garb they're wearing, but they are out there, Commissioner, and I can give you more detailed information regarding them, but they are out there on the street. And it's Family Medical Service, and Mark Robinson is actually managing that team. He is a member of that organization. Okay. In terms of BHG, we did have some conversations with them, and I will get that for you, Miss Hanson, in terms of how they're what they have on. The other thing that I did want to talk about is I know there were lots of questions about BHG, and as you said, Commissioner, you had indicated that you wanted to see them relocated. We did enter into some discussions about that. They are not willing to relocate. However, they have made some improvements, and I don't know what you're seeing, and would be happy to hear from you. They have increased security over the past year. They have a full-time security team, and that team makes hourly checks of the internal around the external parts of the facility as well as the internal parts of the facility. They are also partnering with MPD officers who sit outside the clinic 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes starting as early as 5 o'clock, because you know that's the time when people really are lining up to get their medicine. The officers also are going into the waiting room from time to time, so to try to check and see what's happening. The BHG has also hired additional clinicians because that was a deficiency that we saw. We wanted to have more people who were licensed in that facility. and they are on board, and that includes a licensed clinical director, a clinical supervisor, and also an on-site full-time medical director. And that's new since you and I last chatted about that. They also have expanded their treatment modalities, so they now are doing more evidence-based practices and improving the overall quality of care. They've also expanded telehealth services, which is one way of reducing the number of people that are in the area at a given time. And they're doing that both with individual and group services. I think you know that they did change the hours so that they could reduce the traffic out there. They are also working with Freedmen's Medical, which is medicine, which is another service to provide co-occurring needs for the people. And so one of the things that I think you should know is that a new agency has really taken over this enterprise. It's been taken over by an agency called Good Hope Institute, and they have really instituted a lot of these changes. We're seeing some success. I'm almost finished. We're seeing some success in terms of retention rate of patients is really has improved by 12%. And so 84% of the patients who are going there are continuing in care. And we really have conducted numerous outreach and community engagement activities to provide support in that area. So they're not moving. They are taken over by a new company. And what we're seeing in terms of the results from our oversight and monitoring is that there are some improvements in terms of quality of care and in terms of the security that they have on site.
Thank you, Director Basron. That is a lot of updates since the last time we saw you.
Yes.
For a point of clarity, so when did Good Hope Institute take over the contract?
They took over within a few months. I'll get you the specific date of that, but it's been within the last, few months. And I think the director is actually should be on the call.
Oh, the director said BHG took over from
Over Good Hope.
Yeah. Okay. And then okay, we have a lot of questions from the community about this. I don't want to take too much time. One of the quick things, I was out there this week and it was still like a long line of people. But did they add any bathroom facilities? That was a big thing because there was open defecation happening because there was no access to the bathroom. And are they providing transportation to those who need it after they receive their medication? And then we had also asked for wraparound services. So those are the three. If you
Yeah,
could answer those.
wraparound services they expanded their waiting area. And they were allowing people in terms of bathrooming, that was a big issue. And you remember we talked a lot about that. And I think the director who is there can speak directly to that because she's on this call also. And what was the third thing?
Bathroom and
Bathrooms.
transportation.
And transportation. We have something called My Rides that does provide transportation to individuals who need transportation, particularly to their treatment appointments. And so that is going on. We don't have transportation if they're going home.
That was one of the big things because
we do not have
it stays in the community. All right. Well, I want to turn it over to some questions from the commissioners and the community. Commissioners, let's start with the community. That's okay. We'll make sure to get to you all because I know many.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead. Jocelyn Waters, Christina Hansen, in that order.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Bazelon, on those updates. I have two-part question. The first part is, do you feel like these are sufficient changes for BHG? Are you satisfied?
Well, I think that it's it's a work in progress, and we are making improvements. Is it perfect? No. And we will continue to monitor very closely and continue to move ahead in terms of progress. The one thing that somebody asked is, how are they licensed? They are licensed by the Department of Behavioral Health as a Medicaid facility, and so we do have oversight.
Okay, and so the second question is, is it possible for you to make them organize their questions in two buckets? I mean, their changes in two buckets. I'm not really interested in their things that help their business. I'm interested in the advancements they're doing to help the community. So if all they're doing is saying, oh, we increased our security, but they're not increasing the security that, you know, affects me around the block from their institution, then it's not really that helpful. And I think the commissioner mentioned this, like, if you're not taking care of people after they've used your substance, those people are then in my community. And that defecation thing is a serious challenge that I have run into multiple times, not just for me as a human, but also for my pets. So it's not just it's not just a small matter, it's a human health matter. And so if you're from a health department standpoint, not enforcing that, then they shouldn't have a license, because they're not in a position to be in a community so close to residential neighborhoods if they can't protect the residents from the impact of their service. They should be at a hospital center or somewhere where the people that may have used their substance and can't get to a restroom or like, there should be a timeline to this. Like, if you can't have a restroom by this date, you won't have a license. If you can't.
Yeah, if I could respond to and I think there's something in the chat. They do have access to bathroom facilities, and that was one of the things we worked on early on. That was quite a while ago. And so if you're still seeing that as an issue, then we will follow up more. But they do have bathroom facilities. They are opening their doors earlier so that people can, in fact, use the bathroom and not be using the streets. That's one thing. The second thing that you talked about is whether or not security is helpful to the neighborhood. Having hourly checks, both in terms of internal and externally around the building, is what security is doing, and addressing those issues is at least a step to do that. They are also working very closely with MPD around those kind of security issues on a routine basis.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I'm going to go to Christina Hansen, and if we can keep it to 2 questions.
Hey, good evening. Sorry,
Hello, Ms. Hansen.
Hello, I was multitasking trying to get home. I know I dropped a few questions. I'm going to lean into focusing on children who are impacted by those who may be receiving services, and what kind of wraparound supports are being provided for children of these individuals, because the trauma is very real. The trauma impacts how these youth are able to show up in school. This impacts their mental health. And so when we talk about wraparound supports, when we talk about whole child, I know that DC Public Schools, partners with DBH in some ways, but what intentional supports are available for youth who are directly impacted?
Okay, there's a full, first of all, I'm glad you asked that question. There's a full range of services and supports available to our young people, both in school, where they can get prevention, intervention, and treatment services. And we use the public health model in schools, working with young people, so they can get those services that they need. We have licensed clinicians who are working with them, not only in the school, but also in their homes and with their parents. And we do family-focused support, including trauma-informed care, which is one of the things I think you're raising, is that, children are suffering some trauma. And so we need to be able to address it. And we are through the service delivery model. And it's available.
Okay, so thank you for naming that. I'm gonna, my second question is going to be even more specific to some of those youth because I am a special education teacher.
Oh, good.
Have worked in, have led the behavior education support program. And unfortunately, all too often, a number of children coming through that program are experiencing direct trauma with these types of experiences that DBH supports. However, when a child has an IEP, they can't get some of those additional services because they have an IEP, but it is very clear that they need intentional services. And then we've got this cyclical piece of them not having their needs met, and would love to know more about what intentional work is being done for our students who are ending up in self-contained settings directly impacted by addiction and traumatic experiences like this.
Yeah, well, first of all, you're absolutely right. According to Public Law 94-142, the school system itself is required to provide the services and supports that the young person needs with an IEP in accordance with their individual education program plan. So the schools have hired their own clinical staff. They have psychologists. They have licensed, independently licensed social workers and other staff that provide those services and supports. And our school-based behavioral health clinicians really are not given the opportunity to work directly with those young people because of the federal law.
Thank you, Director Basma. I want to go to the order that I saw hands. I'm going to start with Redmond, then Foreman. Any other commissioners, please raise your hand so I don't miss you. Commissioner Redmond.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I think I brought this up before in a past meeting, and then I followed up and requested to have someone come over in this area to attempt to seek some of the homelessness issues that were going on in my SMD. And at that particular point in time, I mentioned that no kind of materials or anything to that extent is being left behind from these groups when they're coming and inspecting these areas. And there was no follow-up place with me when they came and inspected these areas either. When I tried to send a follow-up email back at that particular point in time, I asked specifically, what kind of collateral was being left behind. I haven't received any response since
No
then.
materials. Okay.
No materials. So if they're coming and they're looking for homeless people during the day, of course, they're not going to be there during the day. But we're having an issue in my area because they're locking down our laundry rooms because people are utilizing our laundry rooms to sleep in. But we have no resources that are being left over here saying that someone's been over here, offering the services.
Well, first of all, we are really doing a full court press in terms of working with the Department of Human Services on outreach to individuals who are unhoused. And that's happening on a daily basis. We are working with their providers, and they have 3 providers who are working in this area along with our internal teams. And I do happen to have some information on some of that. We are working very closely, and the goal is to get people housed. And so DHS has a number of housing options that are available to individuals. It takes a long time to engage them. And so our outreach teams are out there doing the engagement, telling them what resources are available. And that includes not only housing, but also behavioral health resources. And if they say they want to get enrolled in behavioral health, we do it right then. We've actually developed a special hotline for that population so that they don't have to wait on how to get connected. They can get connected right in the moment. We started this process in September and are currently continuing that process right now. And in that time, we have made some progress. We have engaged about 22 residents in that area, in your area, which means they talk to us and they're willing to begin to think about getting connected to care and moving inside. And the hotline number is really important to have, and I'll share that with you. We also have a provider who is also working in that area to attempt to do the same thing. The hotline number is 202-281-2911. We do get calls on that number, and it's a way of getting people connected to service, but you don't even have to remember all of those. If you see somebody who needs help, all you have to do is call 988 and we can connect them to care. 988.
Thank you, Director. All right, I'm going to go to Foreman, Davis, and then McKinney.
Hello, hey. The only thing I had a couple of questions here. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing fine. Oh, I see you. Okay, hi, Commissioner.
See me? Okay. Well, this is a question. You have some quite a few government workers that are in these programs, the drug abuse programs. Is there any time frame for them to complete these programs? And
do you mean when somebody's in care?
Employment.
You mean when somebody?
Yes, ma'am. Because I have a few guys I know. I'm sure they've been up there for years in care. So I'm just trying to figure out, is there any time frame for them to complete that?
Well, first of all, substance use is a chronic relapsing disease.
Okay.
That's number one. And so people may go into recovery, do fine, and then relapse. And then they need the services again. And that's the nature of the disease. However, many people are in recovery for years. We have people who are peers within our system who've been in recovery for 10, 15, 20 years.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that there's no relapse. And so think about this as a brain disease that really one of the elements is that it is chronic, which means you got to stay on top of it all the time.
Uh-huh.
You got to attend to it all the time, get the proper support all the time, and there may be instances where you relapse.
Okay. And well, the other thing was, well, you pretty much hit on that about relocating the place. But there's no criteria for that relocation? And I mean,
we don't have the within our regulations, we don't have the ability to make them move. We have talked to them and their owners to see whether or not they are interested in moving. So unfortunately, we don't have many levers to do that right now.
And
Deputy Mayor may have something else.
So in some of those discussions, I will add that they, and I don't know if they were even serious about this, but they said they would move if the district funded the cost, and it was
$1 million, yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I would think that that'd be worth it, especially in our neighborhoods. I mean, I know these
Commissioner,
people.
can we let the deputy mayor finish his sentence, please?
Okay.
And we're running over, so I'm going to take back.
It was not just the $1 million to move from point A to point B, but then wherever they go, we would have to pay for the renovation of the facility that they would be moving into. And that when you start stacking up those numbers in very difficult budget times, it becomes, it becomes difficult to pull off. And I think, I think Jamila went to council member. You went to the chair.
Yeah, we've asked every council member because we do think that it's worth the $5 million investment, especially if we can give $2 billion to the Redskins.
I don't disagree that I think it should be moved. I agree with you 100%. I would not want facility, I'm very supportive of substance abuse treatment. My wife was she was a certified substance abuse counselor, master's in social work, and she set up a program, actually in Ward 8, around from Blue High School for women in recovery with children, and ran it for 10 years before she got ill. Methadone clinics are a little bit different for me because of the challenges they create. Even when they allegedly make people better, methadone can have some significant effects on your system, and the addiction sometimes is so severe that if you don't run those kinds of facilities, I mean, really tight, perfectly, they will disrupt the community. And there's one in Foggy Bottom that's very well run, if I recall. You don't see any of the stuff that you have to deal with at the facility in Ward 8. And Kim Russo, who used to be the CEO of GW Hospital, was planning on, trying to help with, a design and put one in place that would mimic the results that we see in Foggy Bottom, but she ended up taking another job in Illinois. So I am very sympathetic to to the community's position. I think, particularly when you have communities that have other stresses, it's very difficult to become whole if you have to deal with folks who are at various stages of recovery and can be very disruptive to the community. So, I can't make any promises, but I will tell you that, if the issue came before, the powers that be in the Wilson building in a way that it was considered feasible, I would certainly support the movement of that facility. I just don't think it's in a good place.
Thank you, Director, and
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor. You
And
brought
we
up
actually, we talked a lot about that and tried.
Yeah.
I know you all did. And I just want to note for the record, this is a racial equity issue. Foggy Bottom is a rich, primarily white community where you don't even know there's a clinic, and we've been disinvested. This community was moved over to Ward 8 intentionally. And so maybe we'll bring this back to the council to see if they can figure out a way, maybe within that RFK CBA, this can be a part of a move. Okay, I'm going to go to Davis and then McKinney, and then we're going to move on.
My question is for Dr. Rasburn. How are you? Thank you for coming. We're having an issue with the community response team. Is that part of the under behavioral health?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's under me. What is the nature of the problem?
I called them several times to come out for individuals that are in crisis, and it doesn't seem like they are being very responsive. They're always trying to defer me to call the police, and it's like they don't want to come out and be active in the case. I had 2 incidents. One, there was a young woman who they're tree workers outside working with the industrial sized tree mulcher. She was trying to push the service workers inside of it. Then she was trying to hurl herself inside of it. They never responded. They were like, just call the police. But that is truly a situation where a person was in crisis. The police were not able to do anything with her, but community response never showed on that incident. I had another incident with a woman who looked like she was sepsis, and she was refusing to go to the hospital. I called them for her several occasions, and last time I called them was last week regarding her because she looked bad again. Once again, you need to call the police. No, I need them to come to the community and do their job.
I agree. And Commissioner, I'd like to follow up with you.
Okay.
And make sure that, the team does that. I actually have that team under new leadership now.
Okay.
And she's really attempting to make sure that people get the responsiveness and the quality that you deserve. And so I want to follow up on that. Okay.
I just have one more question, please.
Yeah. And so if you could put your number or something, your ID, in the chat so that I could follow up with you.
All right. And my last question is, outpatient care for people that are suffering from mental health and substance abuse. Basically, it's like they have to self-regulate themselves, and I don't see this as being a successful model. So it doesn't seem like it's working in this community. So I'm just wondering, what is your success rate with people that are on their own outpatients, basically regulating themselves?
Well, they shouldn't be regulating themselves. They should be having a provider that's working with them, because that's really the goal. And they should be getting more than community support. They should also be getting clinical care. And so the expectation is not that they just kind of do it on their own, but that
They're
they
not.
have a core service agency that's responsible for them.
We
And
have predators in our community. They're not getting any services. The people that the deputy mayor talking about, they're predators in our community, and
Right.
they're paying these individuals to sign up. So the people in my community aren't getting any help. They're getting a little stipend, which is fueling their drug addiction.
And I would really love to know what the agency is so I can follow up.
They
because-
will not. They're
No,
very tight.
the name of the agency, you know.
They're not going to tell me the name of the agency. I've
Oh, I
gone out
see.
there, asked them, and they will not give me any information. All I have is pictures of the individuals as well as their cars and tags, but they are very tight-lipped because they know that they are doing harm to the community. So they will not share that information. So we need someone in our community to come and address the issue of the predatory caseworkers.
And I think that's one of the things that Deputy Mayor talked about earlier on. We've been working to get them out the system, because you're not I mean, we have heard that before, and we're decertifying them and putting them out of business because
Yes, I voiced that at the budget meeting.
Yeah.
they are predatory. Yes.
So I'm going to take Commissioner McKinney as the last question. And then I'm going to have a comment for y'all too. Commissioner McKinney.
Hello, how you doing? I want to echo the question about the restroom being available to the clients when they come in and get their treatments in the morning.
Okay.
The restrooms are not available, ma'am. I spoke to the Madam Mayor about that before, because we know some of the side effects from this medication breaks down the digestive system. Some people works instantly, some people works maybe 15 to 20 to 30 minutes later. So if they're not able to sit after they get this medication distributed to them, within a timely manner, somebody able to sit there within like 15 to 20 minutes, then they have to make a bowel movement. Some are rushed out of there before they're able to make that bowel movement. So if you have to make a bowel movement, please excuse me, you all. And these people outside, they have no other choice. And I'm not pacifying the nastiness of the situation, but you're not getting these people a chance to sit and let this medication, this treatment process through their digestive system. Some can take it with food, some can take it without. Some get sick if they don't have anything on their stomach, they vomit. But some who have some on their stomach, their side effect, they may have the bowel movement. And they're not giving these people a chance. And once they have to make a bowel movement, they knock back on that door to go back in, they're not allowed to go back in this facility at all. And I spoke to that about Madam Mayor Murray Bowser about it. She was unaware. And when she did the walkthrough one day, the corridor, when we did a walkthrough, I'm not gonna call the agency. What they did was there was some bowel movement that was there outside, and they tried to cover it up right there where the mayor had to stand. They threw something over top of it, and I just looked at them. I said, "Wow, this is because these facilities are not accommodating our constituents, and you all pay so much money. The district has one of the most best programs in the United States, and our people are not getting the treatment they deserve. Look how hard you work, ma'am. You work so hard, right? So come on, give yourself some credit, and the agencies of the District of Columbia. You all deserve better, and the people deserve better, and the constituents in our community deserve better."
Yes, and I'm looking at what Ms. Reddick is putting in there, who is the new person who is at that facility, and she's indicating that bathrooms are available and people can sit as long as they can. However, we will follow up on that because we do certify the agencies, and if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, their certification is in jeopardy.
Thank you, Director Basron. Thank you, commissioners and community. A couple of things. we understand it's available during operating hours, but folks start lining up at 3 in the morning. So if you're sitting outside for 2 hours and you know folks are lining up, there's nowhere for them to use the bathroom but outside. So having access to a bathroom even outside of operating hours when you know that you have a line, something. I think also some of the commissioners have requested, I think we need to have another just separate town hall with you, Director Ron, on what's happening, because the mayor also committed at that community walk and then a year later to an integrated public safety and health plan for that corridor, starting at Boone all the way down to Talbot, and we haven't received anything. We've sent letters, we've sent requests, and it's just not moving. And as you can see, this is like a huge issue in our community, as well as having one of the largest open air drug markets in the district. And so could you commit to us to do a town hall before the end of this year? With 8A?
Not.
Okay. All right, so commissioners, we'll follow up as a commission to try to get that scheduled, so we can let community know. We appreciate you, Deputy Turnage. We are sending our care and strength and support to your family as they go through these hard times. And, you know, you all are one of my favorite DC employees.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you're one of my favorite community advocates. You give me a hard time, but I know
Thank you for being here,
I know it's
Deputy.
for the good of your community.
Absolutely. And then
we always will come.
There.
You
We
know
hope to
that.
have Ms. Reddick there because we haven't met Ms. Reddick before. So Ms. Reddick, we hope to have you there too.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, commissioners, let's keep it moving. We're gonna have Margaret Makowski make a couple of updates from the Public Service Commission. I think Margaret had some news that many of you all may need on how to interact with some of our utilities that are not DC government owned, and then we'll be having DC Water on before we end the night. Okay, Margaret.
Hi, good day. Thank you all so much for allowing me to be here. Thank you, Commissioner White, for inviting me. So the DC Public Service Commission, we regulate Pepco, Washington Gas, and Verizon for landline telephone service, not FiOS, not internet, or landline. If people don't have copper line service anymore, if you have landline telephone service, more than likely you've transitioned to regulated fiber service, and we do have jurisdiction over that. So you can always contact the Public Service Commission. What we do is we take, I'm in the Office of Consumer Services. I am the point of contact for the ANCs. My director is also here with me today, Maurice Smith, and he's the one that I believe receives the ANC listing, and he may be the one that you have a name for, but the complaints are handled by myself. I handle not only the ANC complaints, I also handle complaints for the mayor's office. I also handle all of the council member and constituent services staffers complaints as well when it comes to Pepco and Washington Gas and Verizon. Now, if your constituents want to contact us themselves, our number is on the utility bills. It's on Washington Gas bill, it's on the Pepco bill, it's on the front of the bill. And if they want to come through you, they can. But what we like to see, and this is in the district regulations, is that the consumer's first attempt to resolve the issue by calling the company and allowing them to work through the problem first. If they're not happy with the results, then they can contact the Public Service Commission. Now, if they come to you directly, you submit your complaints to me. I'm not going to question you necessarily. I'm going to go ahead and submit the complaint on your behalf, on behalf of your constituent. We're not an advocate. The Office of the People's Counsel is the ratepayers advocate. We regulate the companies. We also offer a court-like process. So as the regulators, we're quasi-judicial, which means we operate like a court. So the Office of Consumer Services, which is what I work in, we offer mediation between the consumer and the company. And that's the first step in the administrative process. And when I say that we offer court-like services, whereas if they can't resolve the issue in the informal hearing, the next step would be a formal hearing where they can have attorney representation, or they can engage with the OPC and see if they would represent them for free. And then there's also even an appeals process. And you have to go through all of these steps before you could sue a company in the District of Columbia. You have some people that just say, oh, I'm going to sue Pepco, I'm going to sue Washington Gas. You cannot. If you go to the courts, they're going to more than likely reject your claim and send you back to the Public Service Commission, because you have to exhaust the administrative remedies available through this office before you can go to the court of law. So I welcome any questions from you all. If you have any questions, or if you need my contact information, I can put it down. My director, Maurice Smith, is going to speak to you more about our outreach program.
Can you hear me? Thank you for the invitation here. No, I'm not Margaret Moskowitz, but I used her link. Again, as Margaret has explained to you all, we are the regulatory authority for the District of Columbia for public utilities. And right now, public utilities are quite the topics because the rates are so high. Another thing that you can get through our office is we can give you guidance as to how to handle your bills, what assistance might be available. We can always help you with payment arrangements if you need it. So basically, my office, and Margaret basically runs it for me. We provide consumers with the information regarding their rights and their responsibilities in terms of public utility services. My outreach team, which is separate from our consumer complaint resolution group, we are out in the community in every ward of the city, 50, 60 or more times a year, trying to educate consumers about what they can do to handle their rates. We're getting ready to start our program called Winter Ready DC, where we're giving consumers not only information, we're giving them actual weather stripping materials, which will help them lower their rates. So we know we have methods which you can keep your rates down. A lot of people, again, this is not a thing that consumers think about, but there are ways to lower your rates and to lessen the impact that you may have while rates are so high. So I'm going to turn it back over to Margaret. If you guys have any questions for either of us, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So that's just to confirm, that's Pepco, Verizon, and Washington. Okay. I think I saw Commissioner Donahue first, then McKinney. Let me see who else. Okay. And then somebody had their hand up but put it down. So you have to put it back up. Oh, Davis. Great. Thank you.
Good evening, Miss Margaret. How are you? So nice to see you in person. So as you probably already you probably already know, my questions are going to be, we've been working really hard at trying to get these shoes off these lines. There's 4 different locations in Southeast. We've gone kind of back and forth. Seems like these entities are telling you that this work is being done. And as I've shown you live video or pictures, that the shoes are not being replaced. And the really important thing about this is because some of this is also occurring on the 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue, which we were talking about earlier today. It's a high concentration of drug enforcement. It's also right across the street from our school. So any sort of indication, which the thought of shoes being online because drugs are being sold there, we need to address that immediately. I know it's something that we've been working on for over a month and haven't had much success. So do we need to make an official complaint, or what's the next steps here?
Well, actually, Commissioner, thank you. First of all, it is nice to meet you in person and see your face. It is an official complaint, sir. I submitted requests to the companies, and I submitted your pictures with the request, and the companies are sending me pictures back showing me no shoes on the line. So that's why I was asking you, I was just wondering for a minute, is someone throwing the shoes back up there again? Because as you stated, I know that has a message to it. So I'm not sure, but what I'm going to do, sir, is I'm just going to confirm, and I'm just going to ask each of the companies to send me a photo once they've completed the job. So when I reach out, the lines, let me just tell you, the lines that the sneakers are on, are going to be telecommunications or cable lines. So I'm reaching out to Verizon and I'm reaching out to Comcast. And both of them are responding to me. So I'm gonna ask them to provide me with photos.
I mean, I'd even welcome if they want to call me when they arrive.
I could do that too, Commissioner. If you
know,
want that, I can do that too. I can ask that.
Absolutely. I want to get these shoes off the line. So, and there's there's 4 different sets, that we've been trying to work on getting them removed. So if it takes me to walk with their bucket truck to go with them, I don't care. We just want to get them off the lines.
And Commissioner, I have all 4 locations. I know you gave me 2. Did you give me 2 more after that?
Yeah, I think in the last email I broke it down. I think the last email that I broke it down, but I didn't reiterate the one that was on Fairlawn in 17th. But in the collection of all the emails, I've mentioned 4 different locations.
Okay, I'm gonna resend another request, but I'm gonna also give them your phone number and advise them that they can contact you to make sure that we're looking at the same location, because I don't understand how Verizon told me several times they moved them.
My gut feeling is they're not doing it, to be honest with you, but because I mean, from the shoes are the same, at least that's what it appears like to me. The balloon or whatever is on is still on. I mean, the things are still there. So, but any assistance with that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Sure, and I sure will. It's not a problem. It's my pleasure to provide you services. Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go to Davis and McKinney. Sorry for rushing y'all, but I realize we have DC water and we are getting out of here by 9:20. Okay, Commissioner Davis and McKinney.
Hi, thank you for coming. My question is, can you give us an explanation with all the data centers that are going to be coming around in Maryland and Virginia? Does that have an effect on the utility costs? Because our constituents are seeing an increase in their bills. So I'm just trying to understand what is causing that. If you can speak on that.
I'll handle it, Margaret. Data centers are just one component of why rates are going so high right now. The overarching issue is that the demand is outstripping supply, and the demand has been everything: business growth, residential growth, data centers, and so forth. So the short answer to your question is that this increased demand will have an impact on prices going up. And one thing about the Public Service Commission, the only thing that we regulate are the distribution rates. So those are the rates to get the electricity to your house through all the available equipment, the pipes, the meters, and so forth. But again, data centers, excuse me, that's just one factor. Natural gas prices, because this electricity has to be generated. All of these things are affecting the prices right now. And that's something that people, especially on the generation and transmission side of price setting, have to take into account.
Commissioner Davis,
yes.
As you guys, and just to break it down a little bit more with the bills, right? They're broken down into 3 sections. You have distribution, you have generation, and transmission. And we only have authority over that first part, like my director was saying, which is the distribution, getting it to the home. That distribution cost includes things like the maintenance of the meter readings, and the maintenance of the infrastructure. But the generation cost, which is where the data centers come into play, we don't have any say-so in that. In fact, Pepco, just like other suppliers, they purchase their energy at a regional market, and we don't have anything to do with that, like my director was describing. So I think that's been a misconception with the consumers and the ratepayers. They don't understand that the Public Service Commission doesn't set the price for electricity or the price for natural gas commodity, We're
just concerned that they're not paying their fair share that's being transferred over to the residential. customers.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I think that
Thank you.
it's been important. We gotta I wanted to make sure that we are, and our outreach team does a lot of this too, but we need to educate more on what we do so people will know, and we can be more helpful with advising people. And again, like my director said, we're willing to assist people with payment arrangements. We also tell them about available resources that are out here and so forth.
Thank you, Ms. Margaret. And thank you, Commissioner Davis. I think that's actually something you should bring up to council too, whenever we have the next meeting with Councilmember White. And even the OAG's office when we meet. Ms. Margaret, you have some questions in the chat. And then I'm going to end it on Commissioner McKinney.
Hi, I just had a question about some of these second and third party vendors that approached some of our constituents about trying to get them to add these vendors to their electric bill or use them as part of the electric company. And what happened is it seemed like they're being billed 2 or 3 times, and the electric bill is high. They offer them maybe a free Visa card or something like that if they transfer over and tell them they're able to save money. How are these companies able to bill them along with Pepco? How's that happening? Like they're getting billed 2 or 3 times and their bills are so high.
Thank you for your question, Commissioner McKinney. Actually, third-party suppliers, because they're not the local distribution company, they don't do the billing. In fact, they have to have a contract with the customer in order to even contact the company, Pepco, to say, hey, we're going to be taking over electricity services or providing electricity services to this person. And then Pepco will send a notice. Pepco and Washington Gas do the same thing. They send a notice to the customer to say, hey, this company has notified us that they're going to start providing you with services. If this is not true, if you didn't agree to this, then you need to contact us by this date. And if they don't hear from the customer, then they go ahead and release it, and they will start to bill for that third-party supplier. What happens is Pepco, because they own all the equipment, like the meters, and they do the meter reading and so forth, they provide that company with the meter reading, and whatever rate is in the contract between that company and the customer, they bill for that rate. And so it looks like the customer's being billed twice, but in actuality, they're just being billed distribution fees from the company, Pepco, and then Pepco is billing them whatever the rate that the supplier and the contract is based on. Now, Commissioner McKinney, there's something that's important that people need to know, and I implore you all to tell your constituents this as well. We tell them as well when they call, they do not need a supplier. Pepco is a company that also supplies electricity because there's no generation plants here in the District of Columbia. So they don't need to have a supplier. Pepco has a rate that they will have for the winter. Pepco has a fixed rate for the summer. And so these suppliers, most of them are offering fixed rate contracts or what's called variable rate contract, which that's the one that a majority of the folks that you're probably hearing from are entering into. And the problem is that these are private contracts. So our jurisdiction is limited. Yes, there is a whole section in district regulations, section 327 of Title 15. It does speak to supplier responsibilities. For example, suppliers they have the burden to prove that a customer intended to contract with them. And if they can't prove it, then they have to do something called re-rate the bill. They have to cut it back, take off any charges above what Pepco's rate was to make the customer whole and to fix it. And in most cases, they'll refund that to the customer. And then I encourage the customer to use that to pay the bill to Pepco. And so we gotta inform our constituents, your constituents, our consumers that it's called customer choice. They have a right to choose. And yes, the incentives have been out there, the gift cards and so forth. But when they get that, they also get a list of questions that they have to answer, acknowledging that they understand what they're doing, understand that they are going into a contract with someone other than Pepco, and they have to acknowledge that they understand that this rate does not guarantee a savings? That's a question that is in most of the things that we review.
Can you,
Yes, ma'am.
it's possible. Can you give me a list of them vendors that possibly have them contracted that are able to do that with the district? Because talking about that, because it's kind of like they plan on some of the people intelligence who don't understand, who may not have food in their mouth or at home, and you come to me and say, hey, here's a $200 gift card, you transfer over with me, you're preying on our people. And we can't do that. So we're not going to pacify that situation. So if you can give me a list of that, we have legislators out here that asking for that, and them vendors, and they want to make sure that they're not in the breach of doing anything that's, taking advantage of our people in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm gonna invite the other commissioners to put your questions in the chat. Ms. Margaret is still here and she can answer that. Ms. Margaret, I think there's a lot of information dissemination that needs to happen. I don't know how you all are sending out information that can be shared in literacy that people can understand too. And it may just be worth you all doing quarterly or every 6 months community town halls so that people can understand what's happening. So please put that, if you can answer those questions in the chat, but we do have to move on to DC Water. All right, thank you, everyone. DC Water, Joyous, thank you for joining us. I don't know how many of your other colleagues are here. I believe Commissioner Donahue did a sufficient job in explaining emergency that we've been having for about 2 weeks now, going on 2 weeks, something like that. That's impacted home residents in Fair Lawn as well as Anacostia High School. For those who don't know, Anacostia High School had to relocate for a week to Kramer High School, which has been very disruptive. And so DC Water had a meeting last night with Councilmember Trayon White and several other DC government agencies to talk about what is happening. However, we know that outside of the Fair Lawn issue, we have issues with DC Water. For instance, I don't know if my neighbor Patrick is still on here, Patrick O'Keefe. I ain't calling you out, but as you know, we have a lot of issues with DC Water in terms of leakages on 16th Street Southeast and Morris Road. So DC Water, we're going to turn it over to you for a couple of minutes updates on this project, and then we're going to open it up to questions. Please raise your hand if you have questions for DC Water. Please put them in the chat because we are going to move through the questions quite efficiently. Over to you, DC Water.
Thank you, Commissioner White. So we're going to have Alan go through the presentation for those who were not there on yesterday, and then thereafter we will receive the questions and answers.
Can people hear me okay? And can people see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so this is the same, if you were part of this community meeting yesterday, this is the same presentation from yesterday. There are no changes, but for people that were not part of that meeting, I'll just gonna quickly run you through that agenda and that presentation, and then we're gonna open it up for questions. From our team, we have, my name is Alan Salas. I'm the DC Water Project Manager for the site at Anacostia and Fair Lawn on 16th Street, where the incident happened. We also have, I think we have floor Meyer Adam, but I think he has to step out at 9 because he's attending an emergency right now with family emergency. So he's going to have to step out at 9, and I don't think he will be available for questions, unfortunately. And we have Joyous. She's part of the communications team from DC Water. And I think we have other people on the line, but those are the 3 of us that are going to be presenting today and answering any questions. So I'm just going to walk you through this, the project information. Like I said, thank you for inviting us, and we deeply apologize about the inconvenience this have caused to the community. We take this type of incidents very seriously. So we are trying to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So I'll walk you through the presentation, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So the agenda, like I said, project information, the pipeline repair, what happened, kind of brief summary of what happened on October 26th, and then what's the remaining work and schedule. So the project information, this project started all the way since December 2023 when we had a call from the command center telling us that there was a sinkhole at 16 on Fairlawn Avenue. It was a sinkhole. So what happened? That pipe collapsed, and everything above it, all that dirt and sediment went into the pipe. So it clogged the pipe. And what we needed to do, this pipe it's big, it's 54 inch by 60 inch tall, and it's over 100 years old. It was built between 1909 and 1913, and the location is adjacent to the high school along Fairlawn and 16th Street. So that's where the sinkhole happened. And as part of the initial emergency response, we wanted to make sure that the sinkhole didn't get any bigger. So we stabilized the sinkhole, with trench boxes around it, and we remove all that debris from the pipe. Removing that debris was not an easy task because there was a lot of it, and also there was a lot of debris that was there from in the pipe. So we call an emergency heavy cleaning contractor, and then they clean that area and upstream and downstream of that area. And it was around 2,500 linear feet that they cleaned. It took them about 5 to 6 months to clean all that area, and they remove a lot of sediment from that sinkhole, but also debris that has accumulated over time. So we took this opportunity. We could have gone two options. We could have just patch the area and then move on. But what we decided to do is that, we can take this as an opportunity to go into the pipe and actually remediate upstream and downstream from there and use this as an entry point for our rehabilitation work. What we did, we went on to the high priority stage from the emergency stage, and we were planning to repair a little bit less than half a mile of pipe due to deterioration. And the technique, just to get not too technical, is this geopolymer. It's a cementitious material. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to reinstate that thickness of that pipe and also provide structural stability so that a sinkhole along that path, along that segment, does not happen again. Construction work for this work it's around $9.5 million. The contractor that DC Wire hired for this is Fort Meyer Construction Corporation. And then the bypass pumping subcontractor is United Rentals. So if you see people along, managing the bypass, that's United Rentals. And the construction started in July. The completion date is around spring of 2026. And the bypass was officially turned on in September, first week of September. So this is kind of overall view of where everything is. So I'll just quickly walk you through it. So the bypass intake. So in order for this work to be happen, the pipe needs to be dry. So we have to reroute that flow. So if you walk along Fairline, you see a lot of pipes above grade. So that's the bypass takes all the flow from Naylor Road, 18th Street, all these 3 manholes, and he takes it, pumps it to those pipes along Fairlawn, and then eventually discharges all the way to 13th Street and Rich Place. The sinkhole where it happened is in yellow. That's adjacent to the high school. And then the incident where the pump failure happened on October 26th was at that 15-inch sideline connection. So eventually all those houses, this pipe starts all the way from Maryland, and eventually goes with a series of different pipes. It goes to Blue Plains so that it could be treated properly. So all those connections to that pipe. So for instance, whenever people flush down the toilet, in this community, it eventually goes to that pipe, right? So in order for us to have a dry pipe, we also need to pick up the flows from 16th Street and 17th Street. And like I said, the failure that happened at the basement backup, that was on the 16th Street on Fairlawn Avenue. So the United Rentals bypass pumping system fell. And that was happening on Sunday morning. We were immediately notified, and then we were there within, I think, 2 hours or so. So we were there all the way until Serpro showed up to start cleaning the houses affected along Fairlawn. So I was personally there, and some other of our DC Water and the contractor were there to provide support for the affected houses. Other response measures, and the next day we found out that the high school also saw a sewer backup. So I think Serpro was also implemented to start working with the school and start working on the cleaning on the high school. So thus far, we've worked with DCPS and then the community to discuss the next steps, and also as of last week is to just double check that our systems from our end are working as intended. We did some quick inspections along those lines, all those connections from the high school, and then they're working as intended. Regarding the point of contact for residential claims, we have Robert Hepp from United Rentals, and he's going to be managing the claims from the residentials. And if you have any other questions not related to claims, you can call the DC Water hotline. So that was the incident. We're still trying to get an investigation report from the contractor, just to make sure, what happened and how can we do better. But in the meantime, they did implemented mitigation measures. So I think Adam is not here anymore. He left, but he could give you more
I'm still
detail.
here, Ellen.
Oh, you're still there?
Do you
Okay.
need me to talk on that?
Yeah, if you can just provide a quick on mitigation measures of what you guys are doing since the incident, and so that it doesn't happen again.
Sure. So since the incident happened, we had a fourth pump watch just to make sure that there's a individual by each system to document any anomalies that we have. If the pumps throw any code or any alarm of some sort, to make sure that documented and rectified and get the system functioning as it's intended. Part of the issue, as we are investigating still on it, perhaps a human error that we ignored an alert on one of the pumps for low battery in the morning. During morning hours, it gets a little bit cold, so the battery does not function as proper. So now all pumps are equipped with a trickle charger to make sure that the batteries are always charged and always ready to kick in. Also, we have put auto dialers on the pumps in such way that if the level rises above certain threshold, certain people will get calls immediately to respond as soon as possible. And just from protective measure for the safety of everybody involved, we also put cameras. They're directed towards 295, so they're not directed toward the residential area, but this is also to monitor the pumps and hopefully deteriorate any vandalism activity that may occur. But we continue to get to the bottom of it. I just want to express my appreciation to everyone's patience throughout. I know this is a tough situation that we're all involved in. But we're going to continue to look into this and make sure that it does not happen again. The big picture, there's a collapsed pipe, there is an aging infrastructure in our city, and we have to repair it, and we appreciate your patience throughout.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
just
Go
one
ahead,
more
Adam.
thing, and then that's it. I'll leave it up. So just upcoming activities, we're still, this is a critical asset for the community, because like I said, this is a critical infrastructure, and it's important for the resiliency of the community. So we are, still our goal is to deliver this job and to make sure that this gets repaired. So we're trying as hard as possible to get back on track and to deliver it by spring 2026.
Thank you, Alan, for that. And we hope that you'll be able to have a proper town hall with the entire ANC about phase 2, because it's going to impact a lot of people. So I'm going to go to some questions. I saw Donahue and then Davis.
Good evening, DC Water. Appreciate, as you know, that I was on the ground with you guys from morning till evening. I do want to acknowledge how fast you had folks there on the ground on Sunday, and your continued involvement throughout the week. From putting down dyes through the toilet just to see where water is flowing, to taking care of the immediate needs of our residents on Sunday. As you know, we had multiple residents displaced. A couple of things I did want to point out. You had said about getting Alan, you had said something about getting a report. Is that report going to be made available to the public? And when do you anticipate getting that? And I'll just go through a couple of questions for you. And have you put a person at each of the pumps? So how many people are you having work overnight monitoring? Because my big concern now that we're sort of getting past the immediate stage of this is, and this also pertains to the logs that your team, not your team, but Fort Myers team writes on a daily should be writing on a daily basis. about their presence at each one of the pumps and what times. Have they been turned over to DC Water and evaluated? And will you also make those logs available? Because quite frankly, with everything that we've seen as far as from ring cameras, it's quite possible that there wasn't sufficient people monitoring those pumps. We didn't see any people in and around that area in that morning, and so I'm curious how much man power may have been an issue with not being on top of these pumps, and if that was or if that is a concern, how many people have you added to assure that this doesn't happen again? The other thing is, you had just said that there was an alert for a battery that was ignored. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how much that played a role into this issue?
Alan, would you like me to answer the questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for all your help throughout so far. So I just want to put it out there. To talk about the manpower and the staffing of the pump watch, one thing I can speak to is anytime that I go on site, I check with the pump watch. I make sure that they're there. They're doing their job. I go during the day, during the night, during weekends. I stop by on multiple occasions, and I had, at no time observed that there is no one watching the system. To answer your question on the records are being put together to us from United Rentals. So we're preparing the response to DC Water. How DC Water choose to make those records available afterwards. So just the big picture is we received an non-compliance letter from DC Water, and we have to respond to this. And that becomes a DC Water property to choose to share it. However. So I hope that answers your two questions. We did add a fourth pump watch for this period of time. The way the system is set up is with three watches, three personnel to watch the pumps, being that we have three intake locations. It is by design intended for one pump watch to watch the two systems at 16th and 17th Street. Due to being smaller systems, the system as it was designed, it was sized to take on a 50% increase in flow and 100% if in case both pumps fail. That one pump, when it cooks in, it should be able to pick up the entire flow that it was scheduled for, and that's where we are looking further into it. That one pump that is set up to kick in when the levels rise above certain levels. From talk, there has been observed to have a battery blinker on that morning. So if that's the case, that's something we need to talk more about internally and make sure that this is not ignored ever. And that's part of why we are implementing those trickle chargers to eliminate that human factor in those incidents. So I don't know if that answers all your questions. If I miss anything, please let me know.
The other question I had is in regards, I know that we briefly talked about this, the smell and the noise coming from the pumps along at 18th. Have you committed, or are you going to commit to putting the pads all the way down? And are you going to do any other additional mitigating stances to help reduce the smell and the noise coming from the generators?
So I can answer to that. So the mitigation, I guess the noise, we can generally put that all the way down to 16th Street. Because I thought, the initial complaint came from 18th Street, so we immediately put those in there. But there's also complaints on 16th and 17th. We can definitely look into that and then see what the, because we do have to get them shipped and then installed. So it might take about a week or so after I give the thumbs up. So that shouldn't be, if that's something that, there are complaints about, that's something that we can also put those pads along that area. That's definitely a possibility. In terms of the odor, like I think we you saw we cover the manholes to make sure that the odor is contained within the system as much as possible. Unfortunately, with this type of work, there are times where the odors are going higher than usual. So we're looking into ways if that if you keep getting a lot of complaints, we're looking into ways on how there are ways there are machines that could deodorize the air at times of heavy construction, not all the time, because once you turn them all the time, they also make noise, right? So it's counterproductive if the machines that are providing that odor control are also noisy. That would be very counterproductive. So there are ways to do it. We're still trying to figure it out how because we have to see the availability of that equipment. It's not something that's more of a equipment and actual that requires a motor and electricity. So we have to look into whether or not it's viable for this site. But we're looking in those type of solutions just to make sure that when it's a lot of construction or the smells are a little bit more than usual, then you can turn them on. So that's still something that we're looking into the feasibility.
I mean, and I'll just say, Alan, just today I smelt it pretty strongly when I was walking down Fairlawn. And so the last thing I'll say to the community is that I appreciate at Tuesdays, my single member district meeting on Tuesday, DC Water et al., I'll call you, agreed to have a weekly meeting every Friday in the afternoon with the residents. That's ongoing until this all is mitigated. So I appreciate that continued commitment to our neighbors and to the community. And I know there's a couple of other outstanding issues we have with some residents that Ms. Willis, who has been a great advocate this week in communicating with us, has communicated to the team that we need to make a priority as well. So again, thank you for your continued work with us and with the community.
Thanks,
and for being on the
Commissioner,
ground.
I want to move on to Commissioner Davis. Thank you, but you did a great job, Commissioner Davis, because I want to hurry up so we can wrap up the meeting.
I will hold my question in the interest of time because the hour is getting very late.
You might as well go ahead and ask it. It'll be the last question for the night.
Okay, I was at the town hall last night and you talked about the pipes dating back to the 1900s, and you also spoke on the issue of how you all determine the look at the pipes and see what condition that they're in using the cameras. So my question to you is, why are we waiting for sinkholes to occur before any maintenance is done on these pipes? Why should we have even gotten to this point if you have the technology to go in and review the pipes and see the structure, the integrity, and the condition of them? So I just don't understand how we even got to this point with you all allowing the sinkhole to get there. And then you spoke about you're going to be investing $500 million on this tract along the Anacostia Fairlawn Avenue. And I wanted to know, how long will this whole entire process take?
Thank you for your question, Commissioner Davis. Unfortunately, we don't have Ryu on the call this evening, so he can't speak to that information. And I don't have the projection as to how long this will take. What I do know, or what I can reiterate, is as he stated on yesterday's meeting, is that we are in the process of making sure that we upgrade the infrastructure throughout the city. Of course, there are those sewer inspections, as he stated, that we do go through and use the cameras to see the stature of the actual pipe to see where we need to go. And once those sinkholes happen, we do try to be a bit reactive, and in some certain cases with those cameras, proactive before those things happen, so we can get out and make those replacements of those pipes. But I will take your question back to our engineering team so that we can provide that information to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have a comment in the chat. We'll follow up via email too. That residents should not have to pay these bills, water bills, and electric bills during this disaster. And we will follow via email because we do look forward to DC Water doing some type of broader town hall on the phase 2 that Commissioner Davis was talking about, or the next project, the $500 million. I don't know what phase it is.
Yeah, so just clarification. So this, I guess, phase two within this project, right? So phase one was just the emergency response. Phase two is what we're doing right now for this specific project. Now, there is what they mentioned on the town hall about the $500 million. That's more of a different contract. It's going to be a different contractor. It's not going to be the same one. It's going to be more of a team with, it is a design build team. Without getting into the details, it's just team of engineers and contractors. And then what they're going to do, it's not just this asset, it's just the whole Anacostia area. Kind of looking at it holistically. And then once we get that team, they'll phase it out. So yes, those conversations and stakeholders, there are going to be a lot of them. But that hasn't happened yet because we still haven't selected a team yet. We're still in that process.
Okay, thank you. We would like to even hear from you all before that, but we'll follow up via email.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, DC Water. Thank you, commissioners. You all did, I think it was a great meeting tonight. So we have Quentin Miller. Quentin, if you want to provide any Milner, my bad, updates for the commission from the Moker's office, and then we're going to go into our votes, but I do have a proposition for the commissioners before I vote. Quentin, over to you.
Hey guys, I hope all is well. I did leave a couple of updates from the mayor's office in the chat. It was the first thing I wanted to announce that leaf season has taken off already. I'm in Ward 8, so collection continues according to the ward specific schedule. The leaf collection map and schedules you can find at dpw.dc.gov/service/leaf.collection. The Mokers encourage residents to rake leaves to the curb away from the storm drains and vehicles. Do not bag the leaves. Collect sticks, trash, debris to avoid collection delays. Also, please, we encourage you to please register for DPR winter programs. DPR winter programs open, the aquatic programs opened up today, and tomorrow the rest of the programs will open up, and you can register at dprprograms.com for the aquatic and winter programs. Yeah, that was it. So I know we've been here all night, so that was the main updates. And lastly, regarding the Fairlawn sewer leak, I just wanted to let you guys know that Mokers are actually monitoring the situation and its impact on residents, and we're tracking the status of everything and providing assistance to those affected. So thank you guys for all your service.
Thank you, Quentin. Appreciate you. Thank you, community, for sticking with us. So we are going into our votes for tonight. As everyone know, I mentioned on the last time, we have to do our last quarter finance reports due by November 15th. However, the person who usually does it for us at the Office of ANC is out. So Commissioner Foreman had to learn how to use the software, which he's just learning. So I talked to most of the commissioners last night and asked if we can have a public meeting next Tuesday or Wednesday. We can determine a date after this to present that finance report. I actually think the other votes that have to do with admin stuff, we should table them until then too. I know Commissioner Moore sent the minutes today. I don't know if everyone had a chance to read them, but if you didn't, let's just vote on it then so you can have an opportunity to read the minutes. And I know that the Commissioner Moore has a proposal for a process for us finally getting some operational support. It may mirror some of the suggestions of Commissioner Donahue, so it's good we can just talk about all of that stuff at the same time. And Donahue, you can reflag your emails if you want the commissioner to review it as a vote. So let's table that for another public meeting next week where we can go over some of those administrative procedures that we need to do for the commission. So the two votes I do want to have tonight is on the ABCA lawyer. As you all know, we've been talking about these, I'm sorry, y'all, it's been a long day. Talking about these liquor store licenses. And one of the things that happens, ABCA usually awards to the applicant. That's across the city, not just ANCAA. And so several ANCs have hired lawyers because when we go into these hearings, you all, and these negotiations, we laymen, I'll say as a layman myself, are negotiating with lawyers, and it's not an equal fight, right? And so the Office of ANC did help identify a law firm for ANCs to tap into to get legal assistance and going up against ABCA, and a lawyer that we can use to go up against developers for CBAs too, but that's not a conversation right now. And we did have an opportunity to meet with this law firm. They did give us a they are providing ANCs with a discounted rate of $350 an hour from $700 an hour is your usual rate.
Yeah.
And they are the only firm that has been working with ANCs across the city on any type of ABCA license contest. They did tell us that a lot of theirs are towards taverns and bars and stuff like that, but once you know how to go against ABCA, you can go against ABCA. So we do want to put forth a vote for this commission to vote to hire a lawyer, hire this law firm to help us with the 2 cases we're working on now. And then to also do a vote that we ask the ONC Technical Assistance Fund for that funding, because the Technical Assistance Fund does provide funding for that. Commissioner Foreman sent me a message. We do have about 26,000 in the bank. Like I said, we usually range from 20 to 30,000 at all times right now, but we'll get the full readout when we get the finance report. So the vote asking for technical assistance fund to be used for the law firm and to hire this law firm to represent us if we have to go towards a hearing. Just so the community knows, it is a possibility that their application for A+ liquors will be possibly, it might not go towards a hearing, and if we don't have to go, then we don't hire the law firm. So this is only if we do have to hire the law firm. And so I want to turn it over to the commissioners that have the liquor licenses in their SMDs that are up for renewal, up for a new license, not renewal, sorry, everyone. And that's Commissioner Davis and Commissioner McKinney. And then just for the minutes, we have a full commission, full 7 quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, all the commissioners joined throughout the meeting. I forgot to acknowledge that earlier. So I'm gonna turn it over to Commissioner Davis and McKinney real quick before we do the votes.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what law firm you talking about, because I don't recall this meeting with this law firm.
That was the one when you were talking to Dallas. It was Vegas,
Vertigo.
Vertigo. It was a meeting we had this past Tuesday.
I don't remember.
You had a family meeting. You couldn't attend it, remember?
What's the actual vote to? I'm not sure. Like, are we doing a vote on how much we're going to spend if we do hire them, or what?
Yeah, we do the vote up to, because she told us it won't cost more than $5,000. So the vote would be to hire this law firm in an amount not greater than $5,000 to represent us for the ABCA cases. And if we don't have to have that representation because the licenses are thrown out, then we don't use it.
And are we going to be paying an hourly rate, or are we going to be doing it just a flat fee for each individual case? Are we like retaining them?
No, that's a good question. So it is an hourly rate. The hourly rate is discounted at $350, but our vote has to have a maximum, budget.
Yes,
We can't
not to exceed.
So not to exceed $5,000. Good questions asked.
Yeah, she did send us the email, as she said on the call.
Yeah.
And so she'll be on retainer with us, or?
Yeah, so what happens is, with law, I don't know if I don't think none of us are lawyers, but when we do assign it, we do have them, we'll put in a contract, it's up to $5,000. They'll do an hourly breakdown. If whatever money they don't spend, we don't pay for. So we don't just, give $5,000. So whatever we don't spend, we only pay for what we do spend. If for some reason it's gonna take more than $5,000, we'll make sure in the contract, and the contract will be done with the Office of ANC the way they've done the other contracts. We'll have to come back and renegotiate and re-vote on that, but we're not gonna go more than $5,000 with this initial.
I don't feel comfortable because I don't recall this meeting with this law firm. So maybe I wasn't there. So
you wasn't there. It was when we had our exec meeting. And so just to know, if we don't vote, we don't have a lawyer going into the hearing next week for A+.
Would this be the first time in history that AA didn't have a lawyer going? We had a lawyer before who didn't do anything.
We never had a lawyer going for ABCA. We've never had a lawyer for ABCA.
I know, but we had a lawyer before.
We had a lawyer for the CBA, but we've never had a lawyer for ABCA. And the lawyer we have for the CBA she doesn't do ABCA.
When is the next hearing for this case?
The hearing is on the 19th. We have to enter in all evidence before the 12th. So we have 5-6 days to enter in any evidence that we have. So if we don't vote on it, then we don't have a lawyer going into this fight for A+ liquors. And we're probably going to lose. But this was the commission, Commissioner McKinney, I just want to be very honest, you know, I love you. This was the meeting we had, the legal meeting last week. No, it wasn't last week. When was it?
It was last week.
It was last week, and you had sent that you had a family emergency, and we had said that we had the lawyer, and we have an email trail with us.
I'll also add that I spoke with Denise today about it. She had said we had gone over. There are very few attorneys that have dealt with it. One of my concerns was that this attorney is a criminal defense attorney, and that this is sort of a new area of law, which, you know, she's had some successes with other ANC commissions. So in consultation with Denise, I feel comfortable moving forward with it.
Yeah, I feel comfortable too. We've never had a lawyer. We lose every ABCA case, and I honestly believe this is our best shot in trying to win.
So are we going to take a vote?
I mean, it is, you know, Commissioner McKinney, it is your single district, so I do want, you know, for you to see, you know.
And when is the next meeting? We have an emergency meeting, right?
We have to have a meeting 7 days from now if we want to, but that's after the deadline to submit any hearing and for the lawyer to do the first round of stuff that they need to submit.
I'm moving today, but I'm gonna go along with it because of my constituents that have nothing to do with you all. And I'll deal with this later.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so some people are saying, and okay, one of your constituents said something.
Is somebody gonna move? Or
Yep.
Yeah, so Commissioner.
They was having discussion. I thought Foreman.
Freer, what'd you say?
I thought you called McKinney and Foreman for the
I called
discussion.
McKinney and Davis because
And
it's their
Davis. Oh,
commissioners.
excuse me. Yes, yeah, Davis.
I'll make a motion to move the attorney forward.
We haven't heard from Davis.
Yeah, let's do Davis, and then let's have one of those two commissioners, because we got to be very specific in the vote. It needs to name the law firm, and then it needs to name up to amount as well. And then you can second it, Tom.
Okay, you ready? You want me to move the motion now?
Well, do you have any discussion? How do you feel? Because this covers your single member district too.
But the motion is not going to cover mine because she's not representing me at this particular time. She's only representing A+ liquors.
Oh,
because
okay.
She's not representing us.
Mine says not, excuse me. They did not appear at the status hearing, correct? So we're not going forth to the hearing at this point. They have to start back over. So at that point, once they start back over, when we get to this point, then we have to start over and retain her again. Is that correct?
No.
Or are we including her in this? Because this $5,000 is only covering A+ liquors.
No.
We had talked about both, but when we can write that up in the contract that this is our ABCA lawyer on retaining for the cases we have.
No, we didn't discuss both of us for
We didn't discuss
$5,000.
both?
No, this was only for A+ liquors. Because
Well,
we had
if we're
already
gonna-
had the status hearing for mines and they did not show up, so they threw it out.
Didn't, so they threw it out. Okay, but
Right, so
if we're gonna-
$5,000
we're
could not
gonna
possibly
retain
cover.
her
Excuse
at
me,
that-
we both cannot talk at the same time, and then it's my turn, Tom. So we're gonna have to have a point of order right here.
okay, Commissioner Davis. Okay, so you're correct. Yours is thrown out. The vote is just up to 5,000. Once we have them, if we need to extend, we can extend. The vote doesn't have to be. The vote has to say that we're retaining a lawyer for our ABCA protest hearings up to $5,000 at the reduced rate of $350. And when yours reapplies, I'm sure yours was going to reapply.
Yes.
We can come back if that needs to be changed or not. And like I said, there is a high possibility that we won't even need to use them for A+ if it continues to go the way it goes now.
My understanding is that we would retain them and they would represent us in any case that we would need them to. That's why we would have an hourly rate and a max that we would, once we hit that max, we would retain their services, period. And if that would be for whatever case may come before us in ABCA, and then we'd have to reestablish, you know, if we go over 5,000, then we'd have to meet and vote for that. But if she's retaining us, then if we're retaining her, then we're retaining her for her services, no matter what case.
That's what I understood too.
We can do the vote that way too. And we can say, if we don't like you after whatever, we don't have to continue working with you.
That would be in the contract, not in the
That would be in
vote.
the contract, absolutely.
I just got one question. Where did you all find her?
The office of ANC sent us because we reached out for assistance with our ABCA licenses. And they said we've actually vetted a firm that's been working with some ANCs, mainly uptown, and I think in Ward 3, 2, and 6 or something like that. So this came from the office of ANC because we asked if they could help us with ABCA, and they
She always went her
And
case.
that was an email too.
yeah. So yeah, they've just started. This is the only law firm that is working with ANCs on ABCA liquor licenses that we know of.
So in the motion, are we saying any ABCA hearings, or are we specifically stating the A+ liquors, or am I just being generic and saying any ABCA hearing concerns?
I would say we're retaining her.
Motion it? I was about to say, Tom said it perfectly. I agree with and understand it the way he said it. So if we need to move forward with the motion, can Tom just motion it?
I still didn't get my question answered.
I think anybody can motion it, but I would vote for doing it as generic, where the motion is we move to we move
to the Advisory Neighborhood Commission 8A authorize the appointment of Vertigo Law Firm to represent the commission in upcoming alcohol beverage control administration hearing concerns.
In the amount of up
total
to
legal
$5,000.
fees and expenses not to exceed $5,000 with a reduced hourly rate of $350.
That's the motion. So moved. Can I get a second?
Wait. Then if that's the motion, let's reread the motion again, because I want to make sure that
you understand.
Move that the advisory.
I don't think it needs to be that complex, but go ahead.
You can put it in there. We'll put it in the language, but go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
I move that the Advisory Neighborhood, ANC 8A authorize the appointment of Vertigo Law Firm to represent the commission in the upcoming ABCA hearing concerns for total legal fees not to exceed $5,000 with a reduced hourly rate of $350.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I second.
Go ahead.
Commissioner McKinney seconds. Any discussion?
What's up?
Okay.
I would just double check with Denise on the terminology, but yeah, I'm
That's
fine with
fine for the motion. Yeah. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, commissioners. I think that was a very healthy discussion we had. It was very healthy discussion. So everyone, we will be sending out within 7 days a meeting for, oh, Freya, we're gonna see the baby. Everyone, congratulations. Commissioner Moore is back. Oh, look at that. We'll do that in a minute. Congratulations, Commissioner Moore and family. ANC, like I said, we'll be having an admin meeting that's public next week, so we can vote on some of the issues that Commissioner Donahue, Commissioner Redmond. I'm sorry.
We'll pick that date while we're here, because I think that next Tuesday, the 11th would be preferred. I think because I have a meeting on the 10th and the 12th.
All right. Does the 11th work for commissioners at 7 o'clock?
The 11th. No, it doesn't. It wasn't work for me.
What about Wednesday?
Wednesday we have Wednesday we've got either the CAC meeting or the
But the 12th?
Yeah, the 12th.
MPD 6th District Sector meeting.
What time is that?
That's at 6.
All right. What about 7 on the 12th?
That's fine.
It works for me too.
Redmond?
That's fine. That's fine.
McKinney?
That's fine.
And Commissioner Foreman?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, Community ANC is going to have a special meeting next week on Wednesday, the 12th at 7 o'clock to discuss admin and finance issues. Thank you, everyone. Our next full meeting is the first Tuesday of December, which I think is December 2nd.
Second. Okay.
Yes. All right, I moved to end tonight's meeting. Tonight, the time is 9:40. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you.